Hello, my name is Stephen Bushong. I'm Associate Editor at Solar Power World. This is Solar Speaks Live, powered by Unirac. I'm here this afternoon with Barry Cinnamon. He is CEO of Spice Solar and Cinnamon Solar. Thank you for being here, Barry.
That's Stephen's amazing introduction. You got everything right without slurring it. So terrific.
Wow, you know, I had my coffee this morning. I think that might be the differentiator right there. Getting right into it, I mean, I want to talk about you and Jigger releasing an open letter to the solar industry and also a petition calling for a more democratic SEIA board, one that better reflects the scale of the distributed generation segment of the industry. Now, we'll link to this petition and the open letter in the video that we'll post, but and that way people can read about it in its read it in its entirety. But I want to ask, what is your motivation for writing this letter and posting the petition?
Yeah, Stephen, the biggest motivation is just the size of the solar industry and the fact that the distributed generation companies and customers are being underrepresented. And that's just been an evolution. But if we just look at the numbers, there's something like 7,500 solar companies in the US. 750 of them are members of SEIA. So that means that we've got like over 6,000 DG solar companies, mom and pop companies, regional companies, companies in a single media area that don't participate in SEIA because they aren't getting the representation that they need. They don't see enough value. So that's the opportunity that Jigger and I see, is if we can help get SEIA to be more collaborative with the DG industry, SEIA can raise more money and we can just build a stronger industry. But instead what's happened, it's kind of like you follow the money, and there's a lot of money in utility scale solar, and that's actually dominating the dialogue at the SEIA board right now. And Jigger and I want to restore balance and give a voice to the 5,000 or 6,000 DG companies in the country that aren't there yet.
So Jigger yesterday on the petition posted a little update, and he said that he's hearing from people sort of two reactions to all of this. One is, we're a happy solar family and stop stirring the pot. And the other one is, I'm so glad you're bringing up this issue. So what do you credit these two types of reactions to?
Well, we all strive to be one big happy solar industry. And that's kind of the mantra, because when you're working on federal policy like the ITC, it's easier to have one united front. But what's actually happened within the industry is the DG companies are competing for the same customers as the utility scale companies are. Utilities want to sell them their electricity, and the DG companies want to put solar panels on the roof and sell them electricity from that standpoint. So it's important to kind of let the industry and the world know that there is this competitive pressure so that we can come up with a way to live happily. But right now, the DG companies that I talk to are like, I don't need to join SEIA. They're not advocating for my net metering issues. They're not on my side, or they're not even in my state.
You know, I gotta
so we want
ask,
to fix that.
Barry, isn't it sort of on them a little bit to join SEIA and take a part in that conversation?
In an ideal world, it would be.
Okay.
So that cuts to the heart of the petition that we have out there. When you look at the composition of the SEIA board, it's 2/3 utility scale or utility vendors. So the big decisions are not made on behalf of the
Okay.
DG companies. So to say to a DG company, you should join SEIA, and I'm a member. I've been a member for over a dozen years. But put in $5,000, $10,000 to SEIA. That will not change what's happening at the board level. And we want to change what's happening at the board level so that there's better representation. So then these companies can join and have a voice.
Okay, understood. And speaking of the SEIA board, I looked at it, and the DG companies, both residential and commercial, that are represented are few. They are Standard Solar, Aztec Solar, SunStreet, Vivint Solar, Solar City, Sunrun, Borrego. This is 7 out of nearly 30 representatives. So what would your ideal ratio be?
Jigger and I don't have an ideal ratio.
Okay.
We don't have an exact solution. We want to solicit input from the industry and come up with a good solution. Now, we're at a very great point at SEIA right now it's unfortunate that Ron Resch left, who did a terrific job over the years, but SEIA is looking for a new CEO.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that the new CEO is aware of the issue and can help us craft a good solution so that there's balanced representation on the board, and so that all the DG companies can say, my money is being well spent at SEIA to solve my local net metering issues.
Right, right. You know, SEIA's been communicating a lot lately, and one of their messages is what's good for one company is good for all. I get the impression maybe you disagree with that sentiment. I mean, what's your opinion?
Companies have their own agenda. Their agenda is defined by the business that they're in. So when it comes to issues like the ITC, what's good for one solar company that can benefit from that, it's good for everyone. When it comes to issues like net metering, which is really live or die for every local residential company, when it comes to that issue, if net metering goes away, they're dead. If net metering goes away, the utilities actually collect more revenue and make more profits.
Yeah.
So it is a zero-sum game at the customer level. So that fact, what's good for one is good for all, is appropriate for certain policies like the ITC,
right,
and maybe a few others, but certainly not for the local issues like net metering.
I mean, we saw that happen here in Nevada. So,
that's right.
You mentioned their president search. What would you like to see in the next SEIA president?
Oh boy. I would like to see someone that could collaboratively work with the entire industry, and someone that can reform the governance at SEIA so that you got more DG representation. And I'd also like to see someone that can bring all of the state chapters into the SEIA umbrella. And I'm not necessarily saying SEIA should tell the state chapters what to do, or vice versa, but I want them to cooperate.
What's the benefit of that?
The benefit of that, I'll give you a perfect example. When we, in California, SEIA has some great representation in the form of Sean Gallagher and local lobbyists, but CalSEIA is the strongest solar organization in the country on a state level. They had different agendas at the PUC when it came to advocating for RPS standards, net meterings, and things like that. So in Sacramento and at the PUC in California, those policymakers were saying, hey, the solar industry, you're telling me two different things. The SEIA says one thing, you're saying, why don't you get your story together?
Yeah.
So that's what we want to resolve. In Nevada, in Hawaii, in even Arizona, sometimes SEIA is just not engaged with the local industry.
One message is stronger than 50 different messages,
yes,
more or less.
Exactly, but the dilemma is that the message, I understand the message that the utility scale companies want is different than the DG message.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, finally, Barry, I don't want to let you go without asking what's new at Spice Solar. So, in Spice Solar, for people who don't know, you make integrated racking with the module in it.
Right.
So what's new?
So we announced a new partner at the show today, Boviet Solar. They're in booth 701. They're manufacturing Spice panels, high efficiency mono and poly. They've also got embedded solar edge optimizers, which is great. The other thing that's new with Spice is we like to be distribution friendly. So all installers out there kind of have their favorite roof attachments, roof mounts. It's a flashing, a standoff, a tile hook. Spice Solar's compatible with those existing roof mounts. And so that makes it easier for an installer to say, all right, I don't have to change the way I attach to the roof. I'll just slap Spice on top just like I slap an ordinary rail on top.
There you go.
And I have one more thing to mention, and another thing. Now, I was at the opening session last night. Terrific opening session. Jeff, I can't remember his last name, professor at Stanford. He mentioned that utilities are now putting in solar with PPAs for 4 cents a kilowatt hour.
Wow.
And that was a wow, right?
Yeah, that's a wow.
But guess what the world doesn't know? Guess what many people in the solar industry doesn't know? Guess what journalists don't know? You know, but other journalists. That residential companies are putting in DG solar for 6 or 7 cents a kilowatt hour. So that's only a few cents difference. But then when you talk to the customer, the homeowner, and you say to the homeowner, hey, utility is able to get solar for 4 cents a kilowatt hour, the homeowner is going to say, well, gee, how come I'm getting charged 15?
Yeah.
That message isn't getting out there, and that's the message that the local guys, the DG guys want to get out there, which is, hey, we can put in solar for 6 or 7 cents a kilowatt hour. It's way cheaper than your utility charges you, and when your utility is getting solar for 4 cents a kilowatt hour, they're not passing on those savings to you. That's just extra
What's the
profit for them.
solution to sharing that message with people?
More great interviews with organizations like yours,
Oh,
and that's the way to do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Barry Cinnamon, for being here today and sharing some thoughts.
All right, it's a pleasure, and thanks for Unirac for hosting. You're a great company. All right.
My name is Stephen Bashong. I'm Associate Editor at Solar Power World. This has been Solar Speaks Live, powered by Unirac. Thank you.